Hey, how's it going, YouTube? I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to talk about what the Los Angeles Lakers need to do to repeat and win the NBA Finals. Now, if you don't know, I did a pretty similar video to the Miami Heat, but instead of what they need to do to repeat, I actually said what they need to do to improve enough to actually make and win a NBA Finals going into the future. So this is pretty much going to be the same type of video, just how I think the Lakers need to do, what they need to do to improve, and what they can do to help them win back-to-back NBA Finals. So yeah, and one thing before I do get this video, if my voice does sound different than usual, that's because I have allergies and a little bit of a cold right now. So yeah, I'm trying to go push through that, so hopefully you can bear with me. But with all that out of the way, without further ado, without rambling on too much, just get right into this video. Getting into is going to be the free agency / being able to improve their bench and just improving the role players overall. As yes, they do have pretty solid role players. I mean, any team that wins the NBA Finals has to have at least a solid bench. But let's be honest, I mean, they could have been better, and the Los Angeles Clippers legitimately have better role players than the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I know the Clippers didn't even make it to the conference finals, but I still do think the Clippers had a better overall team. They probably didn't have better stars. They actually did not have better stars, but I think overall as a team, they were probably a better built team. Now, is that me saying that they're better than the Lakers? No, I'm just saying their team was probably more well built than the Los Angeles Lakers team was. So, in free agency, though, this year could be huge for the Lakers, as if they play their cards right, they have a chance to have max contract space going into this free agency class, even after signing Anthony Davis, assuming they re-sign him, as it would be an absolute betrayal, stab in the back, if he did not re-sign at this point to the Los Angeles Lakers. So yeah, and now with all their, well, at least a lot of their role players being on one-year deals, a lot of those role players will either test free agency to get bigger contracts, or they will just leave them and walk for anything anyway. So there's probably going to be quite a lot of turnover on this team, as the only players that are for sure coming back next season, no matter what, is the fact that LeBron James is coming back, Anthony Davis coming back, Danny Green, Avery Bradley, JaVale McGee, Alex Caruso, Quinn Cook, and Kyle Kuzma. And I think their first priorities, like with that group coming back, should be them signing guys like Rondo and Dwight Howard, who were huge pieces to their success last year, and I think could still give them tons and tons of value going into next year. So, I mean, if they are able to sign Rondo and Dwight, that would be great. But with there already being reports that Rajon Rondo is planning on opting out and testing free agency, probably because he knows after that playoff performance he put on, he can get a bigger contract, he's going to look at in free agency, and if the Lakers aren't willing to offer him what he wants, well, there's a real chance that they will lose him in free agency. So if they do lose him, there are still other options in this free agency class that they can go with if they were not able to sign someone like him, as they could go after point guard like Goran Dragic, Jeff Teague, or even a home run in Fred VanVleet. Now, Fred VanVleet would be by far the most expensive, but also by far the most productive, and could be a huge X-Factor type player for the Lakers if they were able to sign someone like him. As Fred VanVleet, no matter how they use him, starting point guard, he would be great offense in your starting lineup. Off the bench, he would be one of the best scorers in the entire NBA, and that would actually go huge for teams like the Clippers, because now you have someone to level out the impact that Lou Williams gives, because most teams, let's be honest, don't have a scorer as good as Lou Williams off their bench. They just don't. But now if you have Fred VanVleet coming off your bench, you might have someone that can legitimately be better than Lou Williams on a nightly basis every night when you play them in a playoff series, which could be absolutely huge for this Lakers roster in a series against the Los Angeles Clippers, assuming that would happen in the playoffs next season or anything. I mean, that's just me assuming. And then another alternative, say they sign Rondo, or they don't sign Rondo and they have to go for a cheaper guy, but Dwight Howard also walks, which I don't think Dwight will walk, but just say he does. There are other pretty solid options they could go with. They could go with guys like Hassan Whiteside, Marc Gasol, or Tristan Thompson. Now, Tristan Thompson is a pretty underrated player. He's a double-double machine. He averages a double-double. He's a very solid player, only 29 years old, entering his prime pretty much. And although Tristan Thompson isn't a star, is a very, very solid starting level player. And I mean, I think that the Cavs would be better with acquiring Tristan Thompson, especially if they let JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard walk. I think he would be maybe even a better fit for this Lakers team. And then also Marc Gasol, although I don't think he's anywhere near a starting center or even what he was 2 years ago with the Raptors when he won the finals. I don't think he's anywhere near that. He could be a solid player to come off your bench and maybe just be that veteran presence you need to make it back-to-back NBA finals. And then Hassan Whiteside, although he has a very roller coaster up and down type seasons always, he's still a very good shot blocker, very athletic, and would fit the system and fit the mold that the Lakers like in the big man. That he would be the perfect fit. Shot blocking, athletic guy to protect the paint and get rebounds. That's all JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard do. In Hassan Whiteside, that's what he does best. Rebound, block shots, and score in the paint. So yeah, but now I don't know how Whiteside would feel being the second center on a roster coming off the bench. I don't know how he'd feel about that. I mean, because I think Whiteside still sees himself as maybe a starter/star level player, which he just is not, but he can still get good blocks, lock down the paint, and give you some good rotational minutes going into the offseason. So yeah. Now, assuming that they are able to sign Dwight, I don't think that they're going to go this route. I think the only thing that I can see happening is letting JaVale McGee go, and they re-sign Tristan Thompson, which I think would actually make the team better as a whole. But I think what the Lakers really need to prioritize is getting Fred VanVleet, because although the Raptors might not want to let him go, I mean, you have to look what the Raptors have. They're gonna have to pay OG Anunoby, they're gonna have to make a decision on Marc Gasol, make a decision on Serge Ibaka. They have a lot of contract decisions coming up in this offseason. I mean, they're going to have to let someone go, and Fred VanVleet might even be asking for a lot of money, and money that the Toronto Raptors are not willing to give Freddie. So I think with that being said, I think Fred VanVleet leaving the Raptors could be a very real scenario, and if someone like the Lakers were able to get him, well, that would be ginormous for them. But if they're not able to get Fred VanVleet, I think other good players that they could go for, and maybe even get more than just one of these guys, would be Goran Dragic, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, or even Davis Bertans, as Davis Bertans is one of the best three-point shooters, and what better to get alongside LeBron James than one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson's a very good defensive guy, very athletic, just, very solid player to have on your roster. And then Goran Dragic, a veteran point guard who can legitimately leave the Heat, because the Heat, if they don't sign Goran Dragic, they would then have max contract space in 2 years to capitalize on a big free agency class. So letting Goran Dragic walk is a very real possibility as well. So I think if they're able to do any of this in free agency, that would be absolutely huge for the Lakers. But also, I think another thing that they need to do to win back-to-back finals is that they have to dominate early in the season. As with teams like the Nets, led by Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and the Warriors coming back with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson being healthy, and Draymond Green, the West is just going to be that much harder. Not even just the West, the NBA, should I say, is going to be just that much harder, and they're going to make it even more challenging to win the NBA Finals. I mean, just think, Steph Curry, the best point guard most likely in the NBA, was out. Klay Thompson, maybe the best shooting guard, and probably the second best shooter in the NBA, was out. Kevin Durant, the second best player or third best player in the world, was out. Kyrie Irving, a top 3-point guard, was also out. So I mean, when you look at all that, with these stars coming back, assuming they stay healthy and assuming they're the same players when they do come back, I mean, it's going to be imperative that the Lakers show, hey, we're still the big dogs, we're still the best in the league, and no one can still mess with us. Like, it's going to be very imperative that they dominate early and show these new teams that, hey, the Lakers are still here, they're still an elite NBA Finals level team. And now my third reason is going to be that they have to stay intact and healthy. Now, although health, you can't really control that. If they do stay intact and healthy, that is going to help them a ton. Assuming that there won't be a bubble by the next season's playoffs rolling around, I mean, that will be huge. As a lot of people forget, Avery Bradley sat out the playoff bubble, and he was their starting shooting guard, who's one of the best defensive perimeter guys in the NBA. He's a very good defensive perimeter guy, and he can get you around 8 points a game. So, I mean, if you can have someone get you around 8-9 points per game off your bench and lock down whatever guards they have on the court, or at least be able to slow down any guards on the court, that is absolutely huge. And he wasn't even there for the entire bubble, which is absolutely crazy to think about for someone that was that big of a part defensively. For the Lakers to still be as good defensively as they were without Avery Bradley is an absolutely huge accomplishment for them. And you add Avery Bradley, now your team is even closer to being full strength. And you also add in who you're getting in free agency this year, your team is most likely going to be better. And then also you have to see if they do bring back Rondo. Rondo missed a lot of time in the bubble. missing the playoffs. Anthony Davis fought through injuries throughout the entire playoffs and final series. So, I mean, staying healthy and staying intact will help them a ton, and not playing in a bubble, I think, is going to help them stay intact and stay healthy. So with all these reasons being said, I think that the Lakers could potentially repeat the NBA Finals, but I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you think that they could do this? I want to hear all your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you did like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. All glory to God. Hope you have a blessed day. Can I have a blessed day? So you need to have a blessed day. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.